In a world full of challenges, there are incredible people making a difference, one cause at a time. KFGO for a Cause, brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. KFGO for a Cause shines a spotlight on organizations and individuals dedicated to positive change.
Welcome to KFGO for a Cause. This is a Sunday morning show here on KFGO, and it is about bringing those community partners and those wonderful nonprofits to the table to hear about their mission. Again with me, finally, he's back, Neil Van Dam of the Van Dam Financial Group. Welcome back, Neil.
Good morning. Leola
is with us today. Leola Dahl is from the Heart and Soul Community Cafe. Leola, welcome to KFGO Radio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, Neil, I know both of us are not as familiar with Heart and Soul as we are some of the other nonprofits. So maybe just start with, who is Heart and Soul Community Cafe?
Sure. Heart and Soul Community Cafe is located in Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo. And our mission is to address food insecurity, build community, and serve delicious food to nurture body, heart, and soul. And so we have a couple different ways that we do that. We have a mobile cafe, which is a food trailer that goes around the FM area, and maybe further eventually. But and we serve hearty, nutritious, substantial food, and it's a pay what you can't afford cafe. And so our guests come and they pay what they can. They might volunteer with us. They might have a token that they use. And the main thing is we just want everybody to feel welcome and know that they matter, and that we're glad that they came to join us for a meal.
What is it? What days? Like, when do you run? When's your operation? Is it daily?
Right now we run, so it's, with it being winter, we don't have the food trailer out. And so we're doing pop-ups. And so once a month, the fourth Sunday of the month, we're at Blackbird Pizza. And Heart and Soul kind of takes over, and we do a brunch. And that's from 11 to 2. And then we are at First Presbyterian Church. That's where we do all of our cooking, and we have all of our items stored there. We even have an office there. And so we're very grateful to them for the opportunity to have that space. And then we will be there on the first Tuesday of the month, and that'll be a supper. And then once the food trailer gets going in May, we have more of a consistent locations that we go to on a weekly basis. And yeah.
And so I just want to make sure I'm crystal clear on this, because I had a misunderstanding. I thought of it as more of a shelter, of a place to come and just get a free meal, but it's not that at all. It's more just anyone who wants to come in, have a good meal, can come in. But then if you're having trouble paying for it, you pay basically what you're willing to do, right?
Right, what you're able to pay. And so, I mean, we really rely on the whole community to make Heart and Soul happen, because we have guests then that will pay that suggested amount, guests that will pay it forward to help a neighbor in need. So the idea is to come together, enjoy a meal together, sit down with maybe people you don't know, and by the time you leave, you may know something about someone that you didn't. So.
I mean, I love the idea that it's more than food insecurity, right? It's about building that community.
Right.
It's about meeting other people. Your mission is almost even just a little bit bigger than the food portion of it.
Right. We kind of say, it's really important. I mean, you have to have a full belly food to feel nourished, but you also need those positive social connections, being around people, to have that total overall well-being as a person.
Who started? Was this your brainchild, Leola?
It was, yes. I had.
And where does it come from?
I had seen the idea in a magazine back in like 2013. There was a woman in Utah that had worked in the restaurant industry, and she had seen there was a need in the community, and so she decided to try a pay what you can't afford community cafe. And I saw that, and I'm like, I grew up in the Fargo area. I've lived here most of my life, and I know that Fargo is a very giving and generous community, and there's a lot of people that want to help if they can. But then I also know, just from life experiences and my jobs that I've had, there's also people in need in the community, in need of a meal, in need of social connections. And so I was like, I think our community would embrace this. And so started talking to people, just visiting with public health, different businesses, people that served individuals that were living in poverty. And they're like, yeah, that's a good idea, but nobody was really ready to kind of take that leap of faith. And so I had been scheduled to speak at a Chefs Association meeting because we were looking for a space and then people to cook. And I met Tracy Walvotny, and her husband used to own Josie's Corner Cafe. And she comes over and she's like, I have a space for you. We're not open on Sundays. And so that's how we first got started in 2016. We had our first one.
This has been a long time.
Right.
You guys are almost the big double digits
I
next
know,
year.
it's crazy. Yeah. And then COVID kind of snuck in there and changed our plans a bit. But in the long run, COVID helped us identify another need in our community where community members need a weekend meal. And so we did start doing a sack lunch on weekends for community members in need. So at one point we were doing 500 meals, preparing, packaging, and delivering. And that was all through volunteers. And that started during COVID. And we still continue to do that today, too, as well. So,
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What's the dream?
The dream is to keep doing our food trailer because what we love about that is we are able to go into communities, meet people where they're at. And so we want to keep doing our food trailer. I mean, eventually we'd love to have our own space down the road. We're a nonprofit, so we have a board. And so have a lot of volunteers, and I work with our board to look at our next steps. And so eventually we'd like to have brick and mortar. And I visualize we have an awesome chef, and he loves to teach people. So I visualize, teaching people to cook and coming in to have a central location where people can gather and kind of see where it goes from there. But
do people have trouble getting to you with your mobile locations, or how are you advertising that?
Yeah, that's and that's kind of a challenge, Neil. Yeah, we have a card that we put out in April that lists where we're going to be, and I give that to people when they come to the food truck for that first time. And then we give it out to different businesses, agencies in town, so they know where we're at. But without having a brick and mortar, it's like, okay, where are you at? How do we find you? And so, but we do try to consistently be at the same place. So the Tuesdays we're over at Milkmaid for supper every Tuesday. And then the first Monday of the month, we're at Olivet Lutheran Church. So we try to keep some consistency there.
Where's Milkmaid? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar.
Sure. It's actually right over here, right down 23rd Street.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of right behind KFGO, if you will. I think it used to be a child care center.
It did.
Nokomis. Yep. And so it's just kind of right behind us.
Yeah. We put events on Facebook, and then we do have a brand new website that we're pretty excited about that marketing company named Telwell put together for us. It's very interactive, and we're going to have all of our events listed on there now. Okay. We have a newsletter that goes out. We've kind of explored possibly texting to remind people, because people are really busy nowadays, and it's like, oh, I was going to come to that and then forgot. But that is kind of something we're always working on.
When we come back, I want to talk about the entertainment portion, because with all this heart and soul comes like feeding the soul with music and other things that come along with those. I want to talk about that. And then also how people can be part of your mission. Okay. You're listening to KFGO for a Cause. That's Leola Dahl with Heart and Soul Community Cafe here in the Fargo area, and Neil Van Dam with the Van Dam Financial Group. This is KFGO for a Cause. Welcome back to KFGO for a Cause. Leola Dahl with Heart and Soul Community Cafe is with us, as is Neil Van Dam with the Van Dam Financial Group. We are in Giving Hearts Week. Officially, it's Sunday morning. The fun starts now. I mean, it's been started for a while because early giving's been open, which we talked about. But Neil, you guys are doing something fun for Giving Hearts Day.
Yeah, if people want to go to our Facebook page on Van Dam Financial Group on Facebook, what we're doing, and we did this last year as well. That was the first time we tried it, but we have people just suggest what charities that they think we should give to. And we have a pool of money. I don't disclose what that pool of money is, but there's enough to go around in there. And if you want to go on there and you want to suggest what charity that you think would be good and why, because just like we just met today, there's so many charities in the area that we want to know more about what they are, why they're important to that person. So please go on there.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
I love that.
Thanks, Neil.
I love that there's enough to go around.
Yeah.
So this is your call to action. Should they submit it in the comments, or should they go like the one that's already, like, let's say I want to give to Heart and Soul Community Cafe. I see Leola has already submitted that. Do I like her comment, or do I post it again?
Well, you definitely can like it, but ideally what I really enjoy about it is finding out why it's important to people.
Oh, okay.
Because you might
So
have a
the why
certain
is
connection, and you can
important,
write more than one, too,
Yeah.
if you
Sure.
have 2 or 3 that you really care about.
Leola Dahl with us here from Heart and Soul Community Cafe. How do people get involved in your mission?
There's a lot of different ways. We rely on volunteers to serve. And so right now we have a group over at First Presbyterian putting together 400 lunches. And so volunteers do that every other Friday. So that's a way you can be involved. And we also have volunteers serve at all of our meals and our food truck events. And so we do have a link on our website to sign up that way. And then, come to a meal, come and join us for a meal. And, if you're able, pay that suggested amount or pay it forward. And then you're helping a neighbor in need. And so that's a wonderful way to make a difference in your community. And, also, we have, when you do donate, say at Giving Hearts Day, when we receive donations, some of those donations are going to go to purchase tokens, and then we hand those out to different community businesses, agencies that work with people that are experiencing food insecurity or just maybe need a hearty meal, and so then they can give them out to people as well. So.
And entertainment. Can we talk about that? Because this Heart and Soul not only feeding people and nourishing them with food, but nourishing them with entertainment and art and everything that goes along with what we need for our soul too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, we do try to, at some of our locations, we do have like music. We'll have a guitar player come in and just, he has a little box and he just, sings and people love it. I mean, there's been times when a song comes on that people know and everybody's singing. And so, like you said, entertainment, brings people together too.
It does.
And just, a familiar song. And
and let's remember we're all the same, right? Neil,
yeah.
I bet you want to go out to a place that has live music every once in a while, right? Yeah, absolutely. We're all the same. We all want the same things.
Well, and the idea that you could be the person that's struggling to pay for a meal, or you could be the person that has extreme wealth right next to you, and you really don't know. And let's talk more about your token system, that you can buy tokens, or if you know somebody that probably could use this, but maybe is too proud, and you don't necessarily want to give them just a whole bunch of money and say, here you go, or a Hornbacher's gift card. You could say, here's this, and you can go and be around other people that are in similar situations, or maybe not, and just like the community of it.
Yeah.
Correct?
Well, like you said, when you sit down and visit with people, we have a lot more in common than different. And we say, what a better way to gather than around a meal. And so with the tokens, the typical cost per meal is $12 is our suggested amount. And so when we receive a donation, we have tokens. And so if we can take that donation and then have tokens and give them out to different community agencies, or like if somebody is listening today and they're like, I know somebody that, could use a token. And, sometimes with food insecurity, it's very hidden. You don't know. And sometimes somebody might be down and out for a couple of weeks and then things turn around. And I mean, life can change pretty quickly. And so those tokens are there for anybody that would need one. You can reach out and ask for one. But yeah, they would be, if that's something you're interested in, definitely reach out to me and we'll get you some.
The need is so great in our community. I mean, the statistics that come out, it becomes even more needed. I also know, as someone who shops at a grocery store like everybody else on a regular basis, that food prices aren't going down. So how do you maintain what you need? Is it donations? Is it how does your meal planning process go? I mean, this has to be really all thoughtful, I would assume.
Yes, it's very thoughtful, and we don't waste a lot. Any extras that we have, we share with some of our other community partners, where we'll bring a meal over, say, to New Life Center or the Downtown Community Engagement Center. But what we do is our meals are very seasonal, and so we do work with local farmers. And we've partnered with Bill Urba's Farms.
Yes, love Bill.
Yeah.
And I've been a part of their CSAs.
I am too.
I love them.
Aren't they great? So we have something.
And he's staked out at West Acres during the summer for the West Acres Market.
Yep.
If you're looking to hit up Bill. Yep.
Yeah. And what's really neat about Bill and Austin is, or this is a neat story, they reached out to us and said, we have all this food left in the field, but they're not able to get it out. And then we had a youth group from Pontoppidan Church reach out to us, and they were looking for a project to do. And so the youth went out and gleaned all the food from the field, and then we were able to serve that to people that are hungry. And we actually froze a lot of it, preserved a lot of it, and so we'll use it.
What haven't you thought of, Leola?
Well, it's weird because it's kind of like people come together at the right time, and then it's like, hey, I don't. A lot of them, I've met a lot of amazing people. Let's put it that way.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I love that. Do you have like something that you always serve, or a favorite, or is it just sort of whatever is in the pantry at that moment?
Yeah. Chef Joe is really good about seeing what's in the pantry, getting creative. One thing that's really popular is we have a harvest bowl, and so he uses like fresh produce. He'll have a grain. One thing when I started this, I didn't realize how much local food we have in the area.
Yeah.
And so we get grains from Noreen Thomas, Doubting Thomas Farms. So he'll do a harvest bowl, which is very popular. He makes homemade hummus. And then we also I always say, let's have something that's familiar to people, but then he'll also do something maybe like a curry dish or something like that. So it's an opportunity for people to try something maybe that they haven't tried before. And so, we're kind of all over we have tater tot hot dish, taco in a bag, but then we'll also have a chicken curry dish, or we'll have, the harvest bowl, or so it's kind of whatever we have available. And we do try to go off what we know people like as well. And it's always a main dish, side salad, and then we always serve dessert too.
Of course you do. You don't miss the dessert part.
Right. We figure dessert shows that you really care. So
yes,
we like to try to have dessert.
It does. That's so funny. We brought it up on just amongst some coworkers yesterday. The differentiation in families on dessert. Like, were you a dessert family or you weren't? There's no in between. Either you leaned into dessert and that was a thing for you, or you didn't do it at all. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. When
I was not a dessert family. Like, that's not something that was served on a regular basis. I think
fine. We skipped the main course. So.
Really? You were a dessert family?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you a dessert family?
We were a dessert family. In fact, I have a kind of a funny story. When I first started Heart and Soul, my dad came to the first one, and we didn't have dessert. And at the time, I was eating meals with him on a regular basis, and he said, Lola, it was really good, but I think you need to have dessert. And, I'm like, you're right. And so that's how we started having dessert.
Love that.
And, he was I think in his 80s then. So I was like, yeah, you're right. We need to have dessert. So. And
he was a sweet tooth guy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the key. Like, did you have a parent that had a sweet tooth and that enjoyed dessert? Then you became a dessert family. Yeah. Neil, are you keeping tradition alive with your kids being a dessert family?
Yeah, I really wish I wouldn't, but I can't stop.
Okay, so Heart and Soul Community Cafe. Giving Hearts Day is coming up. Are you a part of Giving Hearts Day?
We have a few different things going on. I'm excited to say we're bringing back Hope and Oats, which we do with our friends at Soul Solutions and Hospice of the Red River Valley. And so that will be Giving Hearts Day morning, February 13th from 7 until 11. And Coach's Oats, which is actually made here in Fargo. They process the oats, and we'll be serving an oatmeal bar and
love
have
that.
cookies.
Where is that at?
So that's at Soul Solutions.
Soul Solutions.
Yep, and so on.
So dessert for breakfast on Giving Hearts Day.
Yeah, because we will have chocolate chips for the oatmeal too. And there will be fresh berries and peanut butter too if you want to go healthy.
I love it.
So, and then also on Giving Hearts Day, we're having a to-go lunch. If you go onto our website, there's a link, and we've got homemade squash soup, turkey, Gouda, and pesto mayo sandwich on ciabatta bread, and then cheesecake for dessert. So
that sounds amazing.
And that all goes to Giving Hearts Day. And but yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful. We're so grateful to be a part of Giving Hearts Day. It's our 3rd year, and there's so many wonderful charities to choose from. So
and Heart and Soul Cafe. That's just an N, not the word and. HeartandSoulCafe.com. Their new website is in fact very beautiful. Go and check it out. You can get all the resources and information you need. And thank you so much. I'm going to put into the universe that brick and mortar for you. I think that would be beautiful for our community to see someone like you have a space that people can walk into. So congratulations on where you've been, and we'll follow your journey.
Thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate it.
This has been KFGO for a Cause with Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. You can find this podcast at kfgo.com.